it splits two ways, okay? It goes one side and the other, and it creates, right up there in the face of the current, are these little tiny eddy pockets that the dominant predators tend to position themselves. The way I think about it is, if I'm the biggest, strongest, toughest guy, I'm not gonna be standing at the end of the line, back here in the eddy. I'm gonna be at the front of the line, up there at the current face, where the bait's likely to come through first, so that I can dart out and catch that food. So the biggest, most aggressive fish, I always find way up here at the front of the system in the current face. So don't neglect the current face. Get your baits up and around those, you know, where the current's actually impacting the cover. Then I fish the seams, and then I come back and fish the eddies. All that can be good places to catch a fish. When we talk about current, the seasonal patterns are critical because in the cold water seasons and the spawn, the fish are not going to be in the current. So we're not going to come out here in the middle of winter. We're not going to come out here during the spawn and expect to catch fish off of this type of habitat. This type of habitat is going to excel in the post-spawn, in the summertime. That's when the fish get in the current. If you have a river system that has a lot of current in it, you're going to be fishing backwaters during the spawn in the winter, low flow, deeper, steeper rocky areas in the winter. You're going to be fishing areas that warm up and are low flow for the spawn. And as soon as that spawn's over, those fish just get right out into the current. And why do they get out into the current? Because that's where the feeding opportunities are in a river system. That's where the bait fish is. That's where the easiest opportunity for a bass to storm out and catch some food is going to be on a current break like this one that we're looking at right now. So what you don't want to do is come in here during the spawn and just start fishing all these current breaks and all this massive current flow, because you're just really not going to be catching very many fish, if any at all. The fish just aren't using this kind of habitat. But in a few months, when the spawn's over, this is where it's at. So that's key when you're determining exactly when you're going to fish current, where you're going to fish at any particular time of year. So fish current in the hot weather season, post spawn, fall, great time to be fishing in the current. Now, bait selection is key on when you're dealing with this kind of current. A lot of times when you have this much current on a place, you're going to be dealing with some pretty aggressive fish. So a crankbait is often a good choice. This is a Rapala squarebill. It has a big presence in the water. I can burn it pretty fast, and I can deflect off those pilings, which is what I really want to do in a place like this. So this is an excellent first choice to throw at something like this, figuring that the fish are going to be pretty aggressive. And like I said, I'm going to throw upstream, let that current wash it down, and boom, I just hit that piling, and that's usually when the strike will occur. So I'm going to try to get up, get as close as I can to it with the crankbait, and I'm going to try to deflect off of it. This is a great choice. Now, another great bait selection for this type of habitat is a jig. Now I'm going to need a jig with a little bit of weight. This is a 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce would be a good choice here too. Reason for the heavy weight here is the current is going to sweep that bait right away. So if you're throwing up there into that current, if it's a 1/4 ounce or somewhere around there, the current's just going to take that right out of the strike zone, right away from those piles. It's not going to be able to get down to where the fish are. So you want a bait that's got a little bit of weight so it can get down. And I'm going to do the same thing like I did with the crankbait, is I'm going to fish the eddy portion of it, the calm water behind the pilings. And then most importantly, I'm going to really focus on the part of the pilings upstream, up in the current face where the big dominant predators are. And I'm going to throw it upstream from the pilings, let it wash down and hit those pilings, and try to catch those bigger fish that are up there in the current face. Now, if this piling is super deep, which I fish a lot of the reservoirs that I fish around the country have bridge pilings that could be in 100 feet of depth. And something I really like to throw, in addition to a crankbait and a spinnerbait, a swim bait, they can be good, but sometimes in different conditions I got to use stuff like a shaky head. And I love to fish the shaky head for suspended fish on pilings. And I'm simply going to cast that up to the piling, count it down, 2, 3,